Okay, so we're going to quickly go over user interactions. Actually, was that enough time for you guys? You guys need a little bit more? Okay, cool. So we're going to go over user interaction. We're actually going to skip over a lot of this stuff because you guys are already familiar with it. Let me know if you guys have any issues. On click, it should be pretty clear. Toasts, pretty clear. Okay, cool. So basically the list click handler, you guys all implemented some version of that. Sweet. So one of the things that we want to look at is this action bar, right? So material design and all that stuff, like, when Android was defined and as it was maturing, this action bar became like pretty standard. So what we're going to talk about is sort of how we manipulate it, right? So usually it's like it sets a title, but there's also these icons that you can click, as well as like a drop down that you can select into. So defining the action bar is really easy. We have a separate resource location. So under resource, along with like layout, drawables, etc., we have a new directory for a menu, and basically it maps to it, right? So you have some special things like you can specify a title. You can decide if it shows or not. And you can also say show as an action. So show as an action will show here. You can specify things like if room. If there's enough room, like show it. If not, like it will get hidden in the dropdown. So it allows, like, as if you're working on smaller devices, if there's not enough room, for example, let's say the text takes too much space, like it won't show. And then with text, it will actually show like underneath, I think, like text for that button. Okay, so let's sort of relate that to how that works for assignment 2. So in assignment 2, we're basically working with the New York Times article or API. So you can basically pull articles, and what we want to do is, yes, we can create like this very simple like action bar, but we actually want to do something much more complicated. We actually want to implement the search view inside this action bar. Okay, so there's actually something that is already functional there. So let's just sort of dive in and get that all working. Okay, so let me close this demo 3. I have a new project open. Oh, this is the one R that didn't generate. And let's get demo 2. All right, so we want to override what? What was it? On create. What was the exact function? Yeah, so we want. Sorry, what was that? Yep, on create. Yep. On create options menu. Right? And so as of right now, there's no menu directory. So if you actually say new resource directory and you just type M, it already knows that there's going to be a menu type. And then we can say menu resource file, right? So let's call this main menu. Cool, so you can see again, you have the design thing. Let's go to the text editor. So what we're going to do here is we're going to just add an item. If you add an item, it'll say, okay, well, you need to set a title, right? So let's say the first one is going to be search. So, okay, well, let's keep that up there. What you also want is an icon, right? So Android by default has some nice icons, right? Perfect. Search. It has a search icon. And so right now it's showing the drop down. So let's define that a little bit. So I'm going to specify a new namespace here. I will explain why in a sec. So how many of you guys know what this is for? This is Razada. Has anyone heard of app compatibility and how messed up that is? Well, anyways, in order for app compatibility, they've specified all these different additional parameters that you can specify and use. And so you have to specify a different namespace to actually leverage leverage it, right? So you can see that in show as action, right? So I want if room, please show. And you can see it move from the drop down over, oh shit, sorry, I realized I wasn't recording. Oh, I am recording. Oh, great, I saw her on. And then, so, okay, we'll keep that as is for now. What else do we want? What else do we want? So let's see. In assignment 2, what we're looking at is also a filter button. So you'll be able to filter the New York Times data based off of begin date, sort order, or like specific type of article. So let's create an item for that. Let's see. Title, and let's say filter. Actually, for this purposes, let's just make it sort for now. Again, show as action, if room. Okay, let's give it an ID. Action sort. And we also want action search. Cool. Does anyone else know what else we can do? Oh, so it actually looks really bad right now because we specified only a title and we did not specify an icon. So luckily I know of a default icon. Sort by size. Perfect. Right? Yes. So the other thing you can do is, right now, the order in which you specify the items dictates the order in which it shows, but you can use your order in category to switch it, to move them around. So the higher the number, the lower the priority. So if you have 10 items, the one with the highest order in the category will actually get pushed into the dropdown. In this case, we don't need to specify it, but that's just good to know. Okay, so what do we need to do now? So in this onCreate menus option, we need to basically now let the action bar know that we have this menu that we want to inflate. So they have this thing called menu inflator, inflate r.menu.main menu, and what was the other context? Oh, the main menu itself. So on create options menu, it passes you the menu for you to inflate. And then since we are modifying it here, let's just call return true. You guys can read into the document on create options as to why you have to just return true. I don't think it really affects anything, but let's run this. Is that all making sense so far, guys? Uh-oh. What happened? What happened? What happened? Wow, what's going on?
I think the screen is zoomed in, so it's also you down on it.
Oh, I see. Okay, I will kill it. Rerun. Best way. Fastest results. Yeah, that actually makes sense. Sorry. Who said that? Who pointed that out?
What's your name?
Okay, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Sweet. right? So we see it, right? Okay, now what happens if you want to start processing this, right? Does anyone know? So you're clicking this. Well, nothing's going to happen, right? So, sorry, we want to override, what is it, on menu selected or on selected, on options items selected, okay? So the reason why we gave each one of the menu items a name or an ID is so that we can refer to it. So let's say I said item, get item ID, right? And so this will be, let's see, we can actually check for that, right? So if item ID equals r.id, what is it, action search, then let's make a toast, right? This, what do we want to say? Search, and then toast. Let's do long for this, and let's return true to say that we actually handled it here. And then something similar for sort, right? And we'll do short here. Okay, let's run. Oh, whoops. Yep. I always forget that show. Good, I like that. Nice call. Pair programming. Cool, so it ran, right? Sort, search, right? Sweet, okay. But for search, what we want to actually do is we want to leverage, what we can do is actually like, so Android has some special functionality where you can actually overwrite the action bar and have these special handlers. So one of them is the search view that Google already provides for us. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So right now there's show action if room. Right, so if room, what are the other options, right? We can say action if room, and then collapse action view, right? So collapse action room actually requires like if we want to basically in this assignment use this search bar, Google actually has a predefined implementation that we can actually leverage already. So let me show you what that is here. So you can actually look up search view. It's a support widget. So you can actually take this. Huh, why is it not filling up? Action view class, there you go. So what this allows, what this collapse action view does is it now delegates control over to this action view class, which actually implements that like in action bar expansion. And so you can actually take a look at the implementation at a later point to see how that works. But for now, what we'll do is just paste that in so that you can see it in action. Okay, so then we delete the search view, and we will run. So what should we see? What should we see? We still should see this option being handled. But we should also see that now the click is also delegated to the search view. Right? So you can type stuff, but it doesn't do anything. So the thing is that you can't actually specify anything here because did you see where that was called? It was called onClick, right? But what we're interested in is actually when it changes. And right now, So handling that in options item selected is not the right place to do it. So what we want to do is actually get that search view and attach a click listener. So there's two functions. Don't use get item. I messed that up plenty of times. That actually uses an index in, so you would have to specify index, but we should call find item where we can use an ID. And so we're going to call search, and this returns a menu item. Okay, so how do we specify this menu item? Remember, there's this action view class, so we can actually call item get action view. And what does that return? That returns a search view class.
Can you make it a bit bigger, the font?
Oh, sorry.
Just
Let's see. I'll make this appearance. Bigger.
There is an override font on the top of appearance.
Okay. How big? Too big? It didn't change the text.
Just for the editor.
Yeah. So this.
Command plus doesn't increase it.
Yeah.
There's a color and font. Okay.
Nope. Does that work? Nope.
Like pinch, unpinch.
Yeah, it's not working.
No.
Not working for me.
Go that again, like tab or editor and
Editor.
color and fonts.
Okay, there we go. Let's see if we can edit.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So choose scheme, see if there's anything bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great new scheme. This is.
Weird. Yeah, we can pinch it like.
Yeah, I can't pinch for some reason.
Gonna try. Yeah, this didn't work.
Mine doesn't work. Is it really small for you guys?
It's viewable, but it's painful when you look at it for.
Okay, actually, I'm going to scale then. Is that okay? I'm going to scale it. Sorry guys, I don't usually change my font size that often.
No, not change the resolution. 720p is good.
It is, okay.
If you make it any worse, then it's a small.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's not enough. It's okay. Just go on.
Alright, I'll figure out how to change my font size at some point. Okay, get action view. So we want to refer by ID, right? So let's see, action search. Oh, sorry, I lost track. We already got it. Yep, action view. And so what does that return? It returns a search view, right? And we have to cast it because again, action view takes in, right, any view class. And then search view, we want to set an on-query listener. Cool, right? And we should be able to see that debugging button. So the bottom function is as it's changing. What's the top function for? On submit, right? Okay. Search. You can type some stuff, and we hit our breakpoint, right, on enter. Cool. Is that making sense for everyone?
What happens when we put another view in that as a view? In the field first, explain design.
Actually, I have to look at the implementation of the search tree functionality. I think. Let's see. how that inflates. So we have type inflator. So yeah, I actually don't know off the top of my head. I think that's something you guys can look into. I don't. I think in order to use this correctly, because of like the animations that's going on, like this does something very custom to specifically that widget. But cool. I will actually look in and find out for you. Again, very specific to the action bar, right? So not something like, yeah. Okay, so what do we want to do now? What we can do is we can continue to build the UI, but I think the right way to go is to work on the data and go and pull this data, right? So who of you used the loopj library for your assignment 1? Loopj is an Android HTTP library that was in assignment 1. So if I go, I can show you that. Who used OK HTTP? Okay, 1. Who used Retrofit? Okay, most people use Retrofit. Okay, so you guys, for the most part, know how to set up Retrofit. So why did you guys choose to use Retrofit? Out of curiosity. What?
Randomly choose.
Randomly choose? Okay, that's a good one.
Because this sounds cool, you know. It's retrofit.
It's from Twitter, right?
Square, yes. Twitter, yeah. Same company pretty much. Square and Twitter, it's about the same. So yeah, actually, what's nice about Retrofit is that they allow you to specify in terms of interfaces. So they, they make it very strongly typed. They define interfaces and stuff versus the other ones you're sort of just making passing a URL and making some calls. So it's just, there's a lot of different ones that you can use. So let's talk about that a little bit more. If you weren't using Retrofit, how would you guys, do you guys understand what Retrofit is doing behind the scenes, or any of these libraries are doing behind the scenes? Like any network library? Okay, anyone? I'm gonna start calling on names. Probably is that a good suggestion? Calling on names. What is it doing in the background?
I think it's first is detect and combine our URL. Then it's use OK HTTP to network call.
It does what?
Use OK HTTP
Okay.
to make a network call, and then it use a callback to return the response.
Sure. So what's happening? What's happening behind that library? Does anyone know? So why don't I just call new URL here and just run it in onCreate? Does anyone know? Why don't I just pass in the URL here and just type HTTP New York Times and go and fetch it in onCreate? Does anyone know?
Asynchronous programs.
Synchronous prompt?
Asynchronous program return the request that needs time to the response, but the
Right.
on-grace must be done before it.
Yeah. So does anyone know how the threading works here?
This network can run on the UI too.
Uh,
Network can run on the UI too.
Yeah, you don't want it to run on the UI thread, right? Because it will literally block your UI thread from moving forward or processing the things that it needs to do to render your screen at whatever 60 frames per second. If you're making network calls on that same thread. So all these libraries, what it's doing is it's actually going into the background, using a different thread to go and get the data, and then come back. So Have any of you guys heard of async task? So did you guys all understand what async task is doing? So what does async task do? Sorry, guys. So you can implement on. Sorry, say that. Say it again, Tree.
Do some tasks in a sense way.
Right. Yes. So, but what's important actually is to know what's going on in the background. In fact, what I consider async task is almost never used in Java anymore, or not never used in Android because there's all these libraries. But in fact, what's going on behind the scenes in async tasks is probably one of the most important things that you guys should know about for Java in general. So Java's one of the best things about Java is that you can manage your threads very carefully. So what you can see is you have like this runnable that gets run, and what it'll do is it's going to take this runnable, push it onto another thread, get the data back, and then it'll give it back to you on your UI thread so that you can act upon it on your UI thread. That's what async task is doing. So what you can see here is that you have this do in background. This is pushed to a separate thread. And then you have this post execute. This post execute, I get a string back. Let's say you make a network call, you process the data, you convert it into JSON string, and you get this back on your main thread. Now you can act upon it. You can display data. But what's really powerful about async task is you should see that there's something called a future task. How many of you guys have heard of promises? How many of you guys have used promises? Does anyone know what promise is? Promises? Like anyone? It's like Ruby promises, Node promises.
I heard promises in JavaScript.
Okay, yeah. So can you tell me a little bit more about what it does?
A small promise will do something, but it will return. It will success or fail, but later and
Correct.
and we will attach the code base for if the operation is success or if it fails.
Correct. So especially for an asynchronous process, right? So what's happening there? In the past, you would usually say, okay, I want to run this thing on this other thread, and then you would specifically say, wait for this piece of data to come back, right? That's how you would program it. Like you would write this thread on this main thread. You say, spawn another thread, go do this work. Please wait for this data to come back and let me operate on it. So when we think about it from a compiler standpoint, that is considered control flow. You are explicitly in your code saying, okay, please spawn this thread, please wait for this thread to come back, then take the data in the thread and do something upon it. So futures completely changes that. It becomes a data flow problem. You no longer worry about implementing the specifics of spawning a thread, waiting for the result to finish, and then going in and getting the data. Instead, this thread runs, it saves the data, and then you can say, whenever you need it, you say, please give me the data. So literally, you will say, okay, I want to run this task that goes and gets me data. Only when I need it, when I call future.get, will it give me that data back. So you don't have to specify explicitly to wait for this thread to complete. This is the most powerful feature of Java. In fact, almost every single thing behind all these libraries are features and this thing called an executive service. An executive service manages all your thread. So you can basically prioritize, you can create a thread pool for, how many of you guys know what a thread pool is? Right, so can you describe a thread pool for me?
Our thread pool is manage our tag
Hmm.
and detect and control it when we want to start or
Right.
queue it.
Yeah, so it's similar to like the list view, right? Like list view, you will recycle
Yeah.
those view items. Well, you don't want to spawn a new thread. Like a thread takes a lot of resources to spawn because you're copying like memory, right? In the hardware layer, what's happening is it's copying memory and all that stuff, and you don't want that to happen that often. So thread pooling, what that does is it says, okay, we will, if there are not enough threads, we will create a new thread, but we will also destroy that thread if it's like not used for a long enough time. So keep reusing that thread over and over again. So you can imagine if you make 100 network requests, you don't want to create 100 threads. Instead, you use a thread pool. The thread pool will say we have a limit of a maximum of 5 threads, and you can. That's why sometimes like it will get slow because if you're making 100 network calls, there's a question about why don't we make a network call for every single list view. The reason is because if you make a call for every single list view, they're only going to allocate like a few threads for network requests. And so literally you fill up that queue so that everything's like now serialized, right? They're not making the calls in parallel. So you have 100 to 4 mapping, right? Does that make sense, guys? If you guys have any questions, like feel free to ask. But this is actually really, really important because I think outside of Android specifically, like understanding this detail will make you guys like super, super great engineers. Cool. Okay, so this is the same thing that's happening also in the image caching libraries, right? What's happening previously, if you were to say, go get me like my image, convert it into a bitmap, write it to your image view on your main thread, you just like kill everything, you know? So again, you would go background thread, go fetch the data, and that's why a lot of you saw like you put a place card in there, and then once that data comes back, that's when you actually like the image loads, right? Cool. All right, so let's switch over and just start using Retrofit. Retrofit. Is your guys' internet working? Any chance?
Slow.
Yes.
It's working?
Yeah, but it's slow.
Someone's probably watching maybe. Someone. But is it working? It's fast for you?
Yes.
Okay, let me see if I can. See if I can reconnect. Okay, so sort of, can any of you guys describe what we want to do with Retrofit then right now? So assignment while I'm reconnecting. Okay, so actually that worked. So those who use Retrofit, what did you guys do? Talk me through the process. So right now we have this New York Times search API. Like, how would you guys go about working with it? So we have this article search. You can show details. You can try it out. We use Retrofit again. How'd you guys get Retrofit to work?
First, we build in the file and then we implement it. We call network.
Yep. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and do it. Let's install Retrofit first. Gradle. And okay. Okay. I also happen to know that we are going to be doing conversion because we want to use JSON. So we got to add this converter. which I think is also it's also 2.1 right there. What else do we got? Is that all we need? I think that's all we need for now, right? So let's see.
Do we need the login of the request request or response?
The what?
The login of the request
The
is when
the login of the sorry. Log.
the log of the request of the request.
Oh, the request? Okay.
How do we see that? How do we say the log of the request?
Oh, log of retrofit. So they have. So a lot of people use this. What was it called? The Charlie proxy, I think it was. Did any of you guys install it on in the assignment for week 1? I actually don't have it installed on me.
That's to catch the request in the middle. I think his point is to log in, right? You just log in the request. It should be something simpler than that.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know if there's. Do they have a logger? I don't know. That's something I don't know. Don't know of. Let's see. A logger. Retrofit.
You read like some people say about logging interceptor or something.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so we won't go into the details of the interceptor here because actually, like, I think that's something that you guys should play around with in your assignment. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with the interceptor. So an interceptor, what it does is basically, like, Retrofit generates a bunch of code for you guys, and it makes it really easy to use. But sometimes you want to manipulate the request the exact same way every single time. For example, for logging, right? You would write this interceptor that catches, processes it, and then logs it. But you could also do the same thing for initializing the request. You can basically, so one of the things that we're going to do here is that we have an API key. Imagine if you want to use every single the API key for every single one, like every single request. It sucks to have that as part of the interface. So instead, what you want to do is you want to take the interceptor and then basically add that parameter on request initialization, like after the request is formed, and then send it off. But is that what you're asking? Do you know of a better way? Does anyone know of a better way to log for Retrofit? Okay. Yeah. I mean, it'd be great if you could type in a debug thing and enable it. I don't think that they have it here, but or would want that. But basically, you could. Maybe that's a request you can add, but I don't think they're going to add it. So did you hit a situation where you needed the logging?
Yeah, sometimes I have the wrong parameters.
Right. Yeah. I see. And so you wanted a dump of the response, right? Okay, yeah. So that is pretty custom. I don't think that's something that they would necessarily give you out of the box. Because there is a catch handler for every single time you run the call, and so you could literally just in your call handler you can basically that's another way of handling it. Every single call has the same sort of you create a base class for a handler, and then every single time that comes back you would write a specific one. But okay, cool. So let's create a new package. Let's call it API. Let's create a new class. New York's time. API service. Oh, sorry, it's not class. Sorry, it's interface. So talk me through it here, guys. Right? We have a get. And what does that get look like? So if we actually go and take a look at it and look at this, so for those of you who haven't used Swagger, it's a pretty cool thing for working with APIs. But you can basically run samples. Like I could like say Trump, and you can see like the result. But so what are we looking at? We're looking at this base URL and article search.json, right? So what you specify in your get annotation is just the end part. We'll add that base part later when we configure. And then I will create a response, right? So let's call New York Times API response. And this is the POJO that we want JSON to parse and store the data into, right? Response. And then what do we call this? Article search, right? So there's a few other annotations that we can use here. So who knows the difference between path annotation versus query annotation for retrofit?
I don't remember exactly, but the query is adding parameter, but in the path adding the replay the path.
URL.
Right. So you basically, yeah, like so query is a query string. So every URL has like a host, right? Slash some path, and then query string, and then query parameters, right? This is separated by equals, so key, value, and key 1, value 2, right? So these are considered query string parameters. There are also path parameters. For example, let's say your username was in this path. You could parameterize it, right? And you can say, let's say that it is NewYorkTimes.com / some person's username. You can actually pull that username out in this interface design. And same thing with query parameters. But in this case, if you actually look at the New York Times article or a new article search, everything is just query string parameters. So all we need to define are query string parameters in the function call or in the interface call. So what do we have? We have Q as search query string. What else? API key, yes. The most important one and the most annoying one, right? Because in this case, you would have to specify it every single time. What else? So if we go back, there are a few others, right? You can have begin date, end date, all these different things. So you can go and read each one, but in this case, we also have a sort, right? Newest, oldest, so we're going to just specify a sort string since I made that filter button, just sort for that reason specifically. Alright, and then we can have query. This is sort, right? String. So, cool. Does that make sense so far? Okay, so what I'm actually going to do here is create this class called service, and then final New York Times API service. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm creating a single instance of the API service. The reason I'm doing is that every single time, so Retrofit, like it will generate the service for you based off of what you specify in this interface. But you don't want to create it every single time you want to make an API call, right? That's very expensive. So what I'm doing is I'm creating a singleton object. Who knows what a singleton object is? Raise hands. Raise hands. Singleton object. Okay, everyone raise their hands. I'm going to do Harley's trick. Everyone raise their hands. Open if you know. Close if you don't. Singleton object.
Yeah.
Everyone's hands has to go up. Everyone's hands. Open or close?
Alright, so now you can ask questions.
Okay.
Wait, can you explain open means and then
Opens
slowly
means
so people
okay.
understand.
Open means you know what a singleton object is. Close means you don't know what a singleton object is.
And
Would
then
you
this means you're not sure.
This means you're not sure. We're gonna use this. We're gonna use this for the next like 8
Yeah,
weeks.
please participate, alright? If you guys raise your hand, there are people. So guys, like 1, 2, 3, you know.
Ready?
You don't know. You sort
Sort
of know,
of
you're
know.
not sure. Ready? Singleton, who knows? 1, 2, 3.
Everyone. Okay. I'm gonna pick on someone to explain. Sorry, you're gonna have to say your name.
Tuấn.
Don't
Yes.
explain.
Singleton is kind of object you only create one time, and every time you need it, you call this instant. You don't need to create it again.
Correct. And usually there's some sort of scoping involved, right? So maybe a singleton for a thread. In this case, we're creating a singleton really for an application, right? Because, but as I mentioned, Retrofit handles a lot of threading for you, so it's thread safe, right? So you should be able to, it should be okay to use once for an application, okay? Cool. So there are ways to protect against it, but okay, so anyways, let's see, we will get this service, right? Get New York Times service. Oh, it's not final, right? Why is it not final? Because it can be null, right, if it's not being used. So we can say if service is null, then what?
Create.
Yes. So retrofit builder. Sorry, new retroface builder base URL. So remember how I left the base URL out? So let's define a common package. We will create something called constant. Oh, I know. Why am I typing final, by the way? Does anyone know? Yeah, not mutable, right? It's not mutable. Not mutable. Okay, I will not use that word anymore.
Not mutable. Yeah. It can be changed later.
Yeah.
Can be changed.
Can't be changed. Yeah.
Can be changed.
Okay, base URL, public static, final string. What else? Another constant is API key. This is not a great place to put it, but you know we'll work with it now. But you can put it somehow in like a strings or perform a lookup later. There's better ways to store that. Although I think a lot of people still put it in a constant string. All right, so I have the API key already. Base URL is here. Cool. And then, okay, we'll call base URL constant base URL, and then we will call build, and then build, but then now we want to basically generate, right? So we want to create that class. So I think it's what, New York Times service dot class, correct? You can say service equals this. Is this making sense for everyone? So this object is only created once by checking for null, and now we can use it every single time. Cool. So let's use it. Oh, there's one thing I forgot to do, right? The response. So right now it's empty, means it's going to parse, not map anything to it. So we have this crazy structure here where we have response and we have docs, right? We'll just call it response. Sorry for poor naming. And then public response, right? So we have that mapping to this response. Inside we have a list of docs, right? So we want to define a list of docs. So let's first of class doc. Inside, I believe we have a string called snippet. That is the snippet for the article, and then response has a list of docs, correct? And this is called docs. Does everyone see how that works? You have a response, and then inside we have a list of docs, which we're ignoring everything else right now, but you guys can map it out accordingly, but that's what we have, right? Okay, so let's use it. So in onCreate, we're going to call service. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Get New York Times service, and we can get this article search. So let's say Trump, because there's a lot of articles in Trump. Sorts, let's say newest for now, and then API key. Again, what should happen is that you guys should create an interceptor inside here so that you can default the API key every single time so that you don't have to keep passing in. But since we only have one API call right now, we'll bear with it. Okay, and so this gives me a call, right, full of what was it? Does anyone know? It was a call of NYT response, right? Okay, so in order to run it asynchronously, we call enqueue, and then we have this new callback function, right? And okay, I will put a log for now. Return, just so we can put a breakpoint on it, and then let's run. Sorry, let's debug. Is that all making sense, guys? Again, I strongly encourage you guys to understand future tasks, also how the UI thread works. It's not a traditional thread. When you guys are doing anything with frame rates, what happens is it's basically like an infinite loop, right? The thread is an infinite loop, and it just handles these messages coming in. So if you actually look into documentation about how a UI thread works, you have a thing called a handler, and it basically has a queue, and then you keep sending the queue messages, and the thread just basically takes one thing off the queue if something is available. If not, it'll just keep spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and waiting. So please look into that, and again, also understand how a background thread works, and how executive services and future tasks work. Cool. All right. So let's. Sorry, did that run? Oh no, it's debugging right now. Okay. Uh-oh. Error. Let's see what's going on. Oh, whoops. There's something I forgot. Really important. Someone should have called it add converter, right? JSON converter factory create. So again, retrofit is very generic. It delegates to a converter, so you could basically get XML. It knows how to change it into XML. in this case, we're clearly working with a JSON data, so get that back. Sorry guys, we're running a little bit late. Oh, what's happening here? Does anyone know? Yeah, I forgot to set that up. Android manifest. What do you have to do? Use permission. Once you do this once, you'll never have to do it again. So if you create a lot of new projects, that's like something you have to. Cool. And I pressed run instead of debug, so I don't think that's why I hit the breakpoint. Cool. Do you guys see that? Got the data back. If I, what is it? FA, I can run an expression, response, code, 200, success. Body. You guys can see response, docs, and I got 10, right? All right, sweet. Now let's link this up to a recycle view. Okay? All right, and let's tie everything together. We have search parameter, right? That's being typed in. Now we want to run the search, and every single time someone changes the search, we want to change the list view. Correct? Okay. Perfect. I think I can knock this out soon. Sorry, we're going to run maybe like a little bit over because for the recap, but hopefully this is good for you guys, right? Yes, hopefully? All right, so I'm going to just really simply just create a new layout again for the sake of brevity. Activity, recycle, since we're going through recycle view, design. One of the things you have to do about recycle view is include recycler view. Gradle is you have to add that stuff in, right? Actually, I think so. Lab recycler view. Oh, sorry, week one, right? Recycler view, and then there's a Gradle, right? They have to include installation. You have to include this stuff. It's painful, right? All this back and forth between Gradle and stuff like that. Okay. Build that Gradle. Let's include it. Cool. And let's get this in. Activity recycle. Recycler view. Correct? That with. Let's do match parents. Match parent. We're going to do ID. Yes. Right. Yes, view. Articles. Okay. All right. So we didn't install Butterfly or Butterknife, so just forget that for now, and we'll do it the old-fashioned way. All right. So what happens? Private recycler view. Recycle articles. All right. So I'm find view by ID r.id.articles. Let's cast that into recycler view. Okay, and then RV articles like that. Correct? We good? Okay. Now we have to create our own adapter. Correct? So we have to create in the layout really quickly. What do we need? An item, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a better name. I was going much better name than I was coming up with. Okay. Let's do this. Match parent layout height. Let's say it's not match parent because that would actually match the recycle view itself. So this will be wrap content. Okay, and then let's just drop a text view in. Is that okay? Cool, and then text view, call TV snippet. And in inside main activity, let's create an adapter. Vertical adapter. Who knows what this binds to? Recycler view. Okay, quit that a sec. Adapter, right? Okay. And this adapter is, yep, view holder. Let's just say view holder extends recycler view, view holder. All right, this implements some data, which we will have what a text view, right? This will be TV snippet, and then this implements article adapter view holder. Correct? Implement these methods. Boom, boom. This should not go there. This should go up top. Sorry, guys. Okay, so again, view holder is by default already basically built into the recycler view. So on create view holder, what happens here?
Inflate. You have to inflate.
Yep. What was it? Get. I forgot the syntax. Was it get layout inflate? Someone jump in here. Was it layout?
Inflator.
Layout inflator.
From
This.
inflate.
Inflate.
Layout.
Layout dot. Whoops. R dot. What's going on?
Let's get context. Get context.
Okay. Inflate.
Layout.
To go on here. Why is R not generating again? Oh my gosh.
Oh, I think like you have to. You should click on the red light bulb.
Yeah, it returns a view holder. So basically, okay, let's create a new view holder first. View holder, new view holder. Alright, and then let's return holder. What's going on here? Why is it not generating again? Okay. Sorry guys, I think my setup is kind of janked again. Check that. Flights. So weird.
You can drag dot layout dot and salt, and you can after that go to import the library.
It's actually telling you to implement the
Where's it? So I mean, I was here, right? So this is. Why is it not working? Why is R not working again?
other layout.
Yeah, that's not right.
Layout. Just typing. Doc.
Yeah, right? It's not being generated again. It's gonna.
If you have
Oh, wait, yes.
I did?
Yeah, the blue one. It's make you a suggestion.
Really
I can try.
yeah, and waiting.
Frame.
So now
Yeah.
you import class. Oh yeah.
It's going on. Okay. Alright. Sweet. Great. It's there. Oh my gosh, that was painful. And then what was it? Was it false or something like that?
Appearance and
Oh,
then
sorry.
false.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. And so this gives me a view, right? So what it gives me is a linear layout view. And then we can let's cast it into linear layout. And then we can pass in view here. And then in item view, we can find view by ID, TV, sorry, r.id.tv snippet. And then what TV snippet equals text view, right? Cool. Okay. Okay, so now what do we got to do? We have this API call that goes and gets all these docs. Now we got to pass this to the adapter so that the adapter knows that it has these documents, and then it could basically draw them out, right? So this article adapter takes what? Let's say a list of docs, correct? Docs. We got a private, static, final, docs. So this doc. Okay, so how many docs do we have? How many item counts? We have docs dot size, right? So how do we now assign this, right? We get a view holder, we have a holder, dot tb snippet, dot set text, and then dot, position,
Get
snippet, right?
okay.
Okay, sweet. Okay, now let's go back to, oh man, if this doesn't run, I'm gonna be so sad. Okay, so now what we want to do is, because every single time we change text, what we want to do is we want to take this code out and say, let's say run search, right? Sorry guys, gonna void run search, string text, blah, right? So this text goes in here. So, okay, one of the things we forgot to do is that for RV article, yeah, we want to set like a linear layout, right? Let's just say layout manager, new linear layout manager. You guys can play around with this. What's this? And then we will call run, for default, we will call run search on null. And then every single time it changes, right, we will call run search on query. Okay, and then every single time on success, what happens? We will call response body response docs, right? And then we will create a new article adapter that takes in this list of docs, and then we will call rv articles dot
Set adapter.
set adapter. Right? Cool?
Yeah.
Does that make sense, everyone? All right, let's run this. Oh my gosh.
Man, so intense.
Let's make sure it works. Let's make sure it works. No errors, please.
Wanna make a bet?
Oh, failed. What happened? What happened? No pointer. Sell it.
No. Recycler will set. Set layout managers no.
No, should be correct, right? No pointer exception, 33. Oh, sorry. Oh, this is null right now, right? It's not. Oh, because I set it to activity main instead of that activity that I
Side
had.
cycle.
Okay, sorry, my fault. Run. Uh-oh, more errors. What happened?
Cannot be cast.
Set my manager.
It should be returned to view, right? It should.
Did I mess up the recycle view?
I think it will blank.
I think I need to set my manager. And need to recycle.
No, layout manager is already set for recycle view. Let's see, where is this? I think I'm just gonna fix it really quick because I want it to work. Recycler view. Where is it? Inflate, right? Oh yeah, false. That's why. Yeah. So does everyone know why this is happening?
It will attach to the
Exactly. Yep. It tries to attach to the parent.
Oh. Yeah.
So by default, if you put that to, by default it's set to true, so it will try to attach to the parent. Sweet, it draws, right? So let's change this. So okay? Actually, sorry. Give me 20 seconds. Let me article item. Let's set this to what 50 dp, just so we can see some differentiation. It ran. Right, so we can see it 50 dp. Let's say, right? So change, right? So you guys can see that, right? Cool. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of small. Let's make this. Can we make it bigger? Oops.
Oh, crash.
Gosh. Oh gosh. Okay, cool. I don't know. Let me see. I have to look at the AUV log. I will find out why it crashed, but we're out of time. But anyways, as a recap, went over action bar. We went through like futures and the difference between like your UI thread versus your background thread. We talked about how to sort of combine these together and how to basically make the list view change as the search view is basically, or as searches are typed in. So yeah, if you guys have any questions afterwards, please let me know. Feel free. I will upload this video onto YouTube tonight, and you guys can watch and sort of go through it. This should be probably a lot better for you guys to go through as you guys are going through homework assignment 2. Cool.